Okay, so welcome, and here we have another yoga practice for you today. Please bear in mind that anything you do is at your own risk. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right for your body. I do give suggested modifications, so take those on board if you need to, and enjoy. Hopefully, you may have some sort of strap. A block could be really useful today, or perhaps something like a chair, and something soft for the knees could be nice, so a blanket, a towel, etc. So we're going to start by lying down, and we'll have our knees bent with the feet about hip width apart. Check that you've got your strap within easy reach, and just settle the back to the floor, get it nice and long. Feel that connection of the spine, the ribs with the floor. Feel the soles of the feet, the toes, the arches. Check that the thigh muscles are relaxed, the buttocks are relaxed. And then coming up towards the shoulders, feeling where they connect with the floor and the backs of the arms. And then noticing where the head is positioned. So whether the chin is rising to the ceiling or is it really tucked into the chest. So we want lots of space around the neck, comfortable, relaxed facial muscles. And we'll take a couple of conscious breaths in and out through the nose. So when you're ready, breathing in, and then maybe sighing it out through the mouth. And again, breathing in through the nose. And just letting everything go. And then one more time, in through the nose. Perhaps keeping the mouth closed this time, out through the nose. And just noticing how those 3 conscious breaths have allowed you to settle into this space. A little bit more aware of the body. So we're going to keep our knees bent and just do a little tilt with the pelvis. So as I breathe in, I'm going to take my pubic bone towards the floor, and then as I exhale, I'm going to release the lower back to the ground. So it's just a little pelvic tilt up. So breathing in, little arch through the spine, and then exhale, release the spine to the floor, little pelvic tilt. Maybe contract through the front belly. We'll do one more. And release. And then settle back to neutral. So reaching for your strap. And let's take the strap, if you've got it, around the ball of the foot. You could also hold behind the back of the leg if that works. And then just finding a position where we're feeling that leg dropping nice and heavy into the hip joint. We're getting a little bit of sensation of stretch maybe in the glute muscles or the hamstrings. But we're keeping both shoulders relaxed on the floor and left foot nice and relaxed as well. So it's not like I'm trying to push against my left foot to get more out of the stretch. And you may want to wrap the strap around the hands or let the elbows rest on the ground. And then having a little play with the position of the legs. So, I go here, it feels a little bit strong. Here's too easy. So I'm trying to find, that midpoint. I'm getting a bit of sensation, but it's not adding extra tension into my face or anywhere else in the body. And then I want to stay with that sensation. So just allow it to ease, getting comfy with it. And then you've got the choice. You can either stay holding with the strap, or you may find it's a little bit more comfortable perhaps to hold behind the back of the leg. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in here. And then as I exhale, lift the head and shoulders off the floor. So I'm contracting through my front belly. And then I'm going to breathe in, release, relax back down. And then exhale, lifting up. Sort of contraction in the front body. Breathing in, I ease off a little bit on the stretch of the leg. And then as I exhale and lift up, getting a little bit more out of that stretch. All right, I'm going to breathe in, come back down. And you can either stay with the hands behind the leg or come back to the strap. And now we're going to extend that left leg out along the floor. So actively pressing the left thigh to the ground as I reach away through the ball of the foot against the strap or towards the ceiling if I'm just holding behind the back of the leg. So both legs very active. And then sliding that left foot back in, let's release the right foot down. Changing over, so we'll keep right knee bent. Perhaps strap around the foot. And then observing where it's a little bit too much, a little bit too easy. And just, having a real play with that sensation of what's comfortable to stay with that's not going to have the teeth gritting. So I want to keep all my facial muscles, neck muscles relaxed as I be with that sensation of stretch. Not viewing it as good or bad. It just is. Noticing if you're holding your breath as you hold the stretch. So we just want to keep the breath relaxed as well. And I'm not pressing through my right foot. Right foot's quite soft on the floor here. So now you've got the choice. You could stay with holding the strap, or you may want to release the hands behind the back of the leg, and we'll add that little contraction through the front body. So I'm going to take a breath in. And then as I exhale, lifting head, shoulders off the floor, contracting a little bit through my front abdominals. And then I'm going to breathe in and come back down. Exhale, lifting up. Maybe finding a little bit more opening on the second one. And release back down. Okay, last one. Exhale, lifting up. Keeping shoulders relaxed away from ears. We'll come back down. And either you can hold behind the leg or you can come back to that strap. And now extending that right leg out along the floor. So actively pressing the right leg to the ground. Actively pushing away through the ball of the foot on that left side. And now staying with this new sensation. So today we will be doing quite a few standing postures. And remember, you can always take a rest at any time. So if you're in a pose and you've had enough, just come out, have a rest, join back in when it's comfortable again. All right, so I'm going to ease back off. I'll take the strap off, bend both knees, and then nice little loose roll of the knees side to side. We'll come back to center, both knees in towards the chest. So you can either hold behind the back of the knees, or you can grab the front of the shins. You might be able to hold onto your elbows as you tuck the knees in, and then we'll go for a little rock. Okay, we're going to come over onto our knees. So if you'd want some extra little padding for your knees, grab that towel or that strap, blanket, and you can put that down on your mat. And let's come into our cat position. So spread the fingers out and feel the finger pads pressing against the floor. Press down through the knuckles and then that whole palm. And from here, check that the shoulders aren't rising up around the ears. So I'm going to relax the shoulders down and think of sliding your shoulder blades down your rib cage towards your buttocks. So I'm really looking at a little bit of length through the spine, gently drawing navel towards the spine so it's not hard, but I'm not letting it all hang out either. And I'm just feeling this neutral position in the back. Okay. So let's take the hands another hand width in front. And again, I don't want the shoulders rising up around the ears, so I'm going to draw them down and back. And you may notice that the outer arms tend to roll a little bit more away towards the hips, so we want to keep that action. Keep the collarbones nice and broad. And then from here, we'll do a little mini puppy dog. So we're going to keep the knees bent, toes tucked under. And let's just hover the knees off the floor. So adding a bit of strength here. If this is too strong on the wrists, you can come onto your forearms. From this position, let's slide the hips back. Keep the knees bent though, until we can allow the head to rest between the upper arms. So neck is nice and long. Should be feeling good stretch through the back of those Achilles heels, the calves. And we want to keep this nice long spine. All right, let's bring both knees back to the floor. Release the toes, big toes touching if you can. And then you can either keep the arms extended, or if you prefer, you can bend at the elbows and support the head on the hands. Or you could come into your full child pose with the arms beside the body, so whatever's comfy. And you might want to give those wrists a little bit of a roll. And then we'll come back up as we breathe in. Breathe through the head up, hands back up, and positioning those hands just that little bit further forwards from the shoulders here. So we're tucking toes under. Coming back into a little bit more of our full Savannasana, our downward dog. So we're going to lift the knees off the floor, hover, keep the knees bent, slide back with the hips, so keeping the back nice and long, and then extend just the right heel down. So left knee stays bent. As we extend back through the right heel, you should feel a very strong stretch through that right side. Check that the weight's not collapsing forwards over the wrists and the hands. Let's change it over. So we're going to bend the right knee, hover. Now extend through the left heel, straightening the left leg. Feel that stretch down through the left side. But keep moving the hips back to the wall behind you. Okay, bend both knees. Slide back with both hips. And then see if we can gradually ease back through both heels. And if it's a little bit tricky to straighten both legs, that's okay. Keep the knees a little bit soft. We just don't want to be here in more of a push-up position or a plank position. We want to get the shoulders back. Okay, rest. Both knees down, big toes touch. You could take the knees out a little bit wider if that feels okay. And again, support the head or arms extended, whatever feels good. And then we'll come back up. So it's a little bit of weight going through the shoulders, through the wrists. You may want to release them for a moment, give them a bit of a shrug. We'll go the other way. So we're adding a little bit more onto this now with three-legged dog. So that means we'll be taking one leg up And we're going to look for a little bit more opening through the side body with that lifted leg. So let's take hands back to floor, toes tucked under, and this time all the way up and back into our downward dog, extending back. Remember, you can do this on your forearms if you prefer to take the wrists out. And the left leg is straight, if possible. We're going to breathe the right leg up into the air. Keep that head between the upper arms. And let's just try and level up the hips first. So my right toes are pointing to the floor, reaching out through the heel, trying to keep the weight even through both arms, both hands. Okay. Release. Now you can come down and have a rest if you like, or hold in downward dog if you're feeling a little bit stronger today. And we'll go to our left side. So let's breathe the left leg up. Hips are level. So left toes pointing to the floor. And I'm trying to move my chest a little bit more towards my knees. Feeling that good stretch all down the right leg. Okay, we'll bring that right foot back down. Knees to floor once more. Have a rest. Again, if you're feeling super strong, you want to work a little bit harder, you could always hold that downward dog, but we are going back into it, so you may want to take that rest. All right, one more time. Spread the fingers out, coming up, hands and knees. Toes tucked under, feet are about hip width. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, up and back, Svanasana, downward dog, head relaxed. Breathe the right leg up into the air, but this time we're going to turn and open the hip to the ceiling. So now we get this side stretch. So the hips are tilted. We're just holding, we're not going to be flipping it over today. Arms are strong. Again, you can always do this on the forearms. All right, bring that right leg back down if you can. We'll go to the left side if you want to take a mini rest. Take a mini rest. So let's inhale, left leg up. And then turn the hips, keeping the legs straight. Just feeling that beautiful opening through the left side. Okay, when you're ready, bring that leg back to the floor. Once more, both knees to the ground. Finding your favourite rest position. And if you're on your wrists, maybe giving them a little bit of a release. Okay, breathing in, come back to hands and knees. So just a little bit more workout for our shoulders here into Dolphin Dog. So if you've already been doing a little bit of workout on your forearms rather than on the hands, feel free to give this a little skip if your shoulders have had enough. Otherwise, let's bring our elbows down to the ground. I just like to have my palms together in a sort of a prayer position. Other people like to interlock. And I've got my elbows roughly about shoulder width. I need space to have my head to hang between the arms there. So not too wide. All right, so from here, we'll tuck our toes. We're going to lift the knees off the floor. And then ease back with the hips and let the head hang between the upper arms. So I'm looking at my feet and I've got my shoulders moving towards my feet rather than to the hands. It's just a few breaths here. Feeling that strength in the upper body. Keeping the spine nice and long. And then both knees back to the floor. And finding your favourite rest position, whether it's head on hands or arms beside the body. Next breath in, we'll slowly make our way up and let's give those shoulders a shrug. And we'll go the other way. And we'll be moving into Paragasana. So you really may want to have a little bit of padding underneath the knees here. And the other thing is maybe a brick. It's not crucial. It's just for comfort. And we'll put the brick on the left-hand side. So this is the gate pose. So I want to keep my left hip over my left knee. And when I take my right foot out to the side, I want to check that I sort of haven't done this angle with the hip. So bring that right foot in a little bit. Check you got the hip over the knee. Right foot's in line with that bottom knee as well. So I haven't got it in front or behind, just straight out. And then your choice of either placing the foot on the floor, but if that doesn't feel good for your ankle, etc., you can just have it slightly lifted up. Just push through the ball of the foot and lift the toes. So we'll go for a side stretch on the left. We're going to place right hand on right leg. Breathe in, extending up through that left arm. So big stretch through the left side. And then it's a little slide down to the right. So I'm checking that I'm not sort of leaning forwards with the upper body. So we don't go too far. Kneecaps facing the ceiling here on that right leg. All right, let's come back to our center. Now this is where you may want to have a support for the bottom hand. Again, I've got the brick in line with my bottom left knee. Or you could put your fingertips on the floor. And then from here, we're going to inhale, take that right arm up. And then if it's okay, we can take it across and over the head. And we don't want to drop the head, so I'm lifting my ear to my arm. And you might find it's a little easier now to point those right toes away as we stretch through the right fingers. We should be feeling an opening in those top right ribs, so let's breathe into that area. And then we'll come back up on the breath in, and we'll step the right foot back in. You may want to do a little bit of a hip movement just to release any tension in that lower back. And then we'll change it over with the brick. So keeping right hip over knee, stepping out, checking that I haven't stepped too far out. Your choice of foot flat or toes slightly lifted is going to be a little bit more comfortable. And then I've got my chest, my hips facing the front, kneecap facing the ceiling. And then keeping the left hand on the left leg, let's inhale up the right arm. And a little slide to the left. So we're just looking for this opening through the right side of the body. Next breath in, we'll come back to our center. Now we're going to go the other way. So either hand to the floor or onto a support. And then inhale, lifting straight up. Maybe placing the left toes on the floor now. And if you're bringing the top arm over the head, keep the head lifted to the top arm. So looking for this nice diagonal line. Now when we get onto the feet, we'll be doing a very similar pose, angle pose. So we want this same diagonal line. So you don't sort of want it dropping off. Let's find a bit of core strength to come out. So breathing in, firm through the belly. We'll step the left foot back in. And hands on the top of the pelvis, we'll just do a couple of nice little movements with rolling the hips. We'll go the other way. Then come down onto hands and knees. And then from here, we're going into sexy cat. So imagine you've got this tail and you're swishing the tail around at the back there. Go the other way. So we want nice movement through the belly and the lower back. And then from here, knees wide, toes touch, down between the legs, really extend the arms forwards if you can, supporting forehead either on the floor. But if that's not comfortable, bring the hands back in, support the head on the hands. And really look for length in the back. Let's walk it back in. We'll take the brick away. And then from here, you might want to also Take any support for the knees off the mat as well. We're going to be working our way up to standing now. So from our cat position, let's tuck both toes under, feet are hip width. And we're going to roll back onto the feet. So if we walk the hands in a little closer, lift the knees off the floor, and then roll it all the way back down onto the heels. So I've got my knees soft, reaching right back through the hips there. And see if you can reach the fingertips lightly forwards. If you need to have the head a little bit higher, that's fine. All right, from here, sweep the hands back in closer to the feet, bend the knees a little bit more, gaze forwards. So we'll bring the arms behind as we lift the head and chest. So coming into our Ukitasana, our chair pose. Keeping those knees bent, sweep the arms out, either shoulder height or up beside the ears. You should feel like you're working nice and strong. Let's breathe in, push, big stretch up. Maybe a little back bend if it feels okay. Exhale, hands towards the heart. Breathe in, reach and extend. Swan dive forward, so arms out wide, legs are straight to start with. So just a half forward bend. Bend the knees, sweep the arms forwards. Keeping the knees bent, fold over the thighs. See if you can relax the head, fingertips to floor. Slide the fingertips back beside the feet if that's possible. See if you can straighten the legs a little bit more. That might not be possible. Soften the knees, fingertips forwards, gaze forwards. Bring the hands to the heart, lift the head, lift the chest. Sit down with the buttocks. So chair. Let's just go for a nice easy twist. So we're going to turn to the right. You can either hook your left elbow to inside of left knee. So we've got the feet hip width. That's probably going to be a little bit easier in this position. Let's press the palms, turn, rotate to the right. And if you want, you could extend the arms. Breathe back to our center. Lift the head, lift the chest. How are those legs going? We're going to go twisting to our left. So I'm just going to hook the elbow to the inside of the knee. I'm making sure my knee doesn't collapse out though. I've got to keep the legs strong here. Turn, rotate to the left. So you can either hold it here with the hands together, or if you want, you could separate out the arms. Watch the knees don't go off in weird directions. All right, hands back down. Sweep it up and back. Let's push all the way up. Exhale back to our heart. And give a little shake out. So should be feeling a little bit warmer now. All right, so we'll be doing quite a lot of standing poses. And I'm going to face this way because we're going to be doing with the right foot forwards first. And we'll be stepping back into some lunge positions. We're going to start off with moving from a lunge into triangle pose. So if you do like to have your hand on a support, have that up near the top of your mat. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, release, folding forwards. Now you can bend the knees or keep the feet straight, legs straight, depending on how your legs are. We're going to bend the knees anyway. So step the left leg back, so big step back. Front knee stays bent for the moment. Take the gaze forward. So we're in a nice long lunge. I'm trying to keep my knee above my ankle. And if you want to position that brick, you can have it little toe side or big toe side of the foot if you want to use it. You can have it in a high rotation as well. We're going to pivot the left heel down. So when I take my left foot down, I've roughly got both feet in the same line. We're going to turn and open up to that left side. So keeping the right knee just a little bit soft, let's place the elbow on the thigh. Release, relax back. And then you can either place your hand on your support or somewhere along your shin. And on the next exhale, we're going to straighten up through that right leg. Keeping the chest turned and then taking that top arm up, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Legs are drawing strongly into the hip joints. Can we breathe here? Is the face soft? Let's reach through the top arm. Breathe all the way up. Notice how that feels. Exhale, extend over the right leg. Allow the pelvis to tilt as we come over. And then we're going to place the hand back down, either on our support or on the shin. Back to our triangle pose. And then I'm going to bend that front right knee. Bring the left arm back to the floor. Pivot the left heel up so we're coming back to our nice long lunge. And then depending on your energy today, you can always bring the knees down, come into a cat pose or a rest, or from the long lunge, you could do a big step back into your downward dog and treat that as your rest. So check in what feels best for you. Either is good. Now we will be stepping the left foot up. So if you struggle from a downward dog to step your left foot all the way up, feel free to put your knees down. If you're in your cat pose, you're already there. So let's take the left foot up and we're going to get into our long lunge. So right knee up now. And then positioning, if you like using the brick, getting that ready for our second side. So from here, let's sit down a little bit more into the lunge. I'm moving my left hip back, right hip forwards. We're going to now position the right foot for triangle. So I'm going to pivot my left heel down. I also took the foot a little further across my mat, so I've got both feet in line now. Keeping my left knee a little bit bent. Coming up, we can just rest here for a moment, and now I'm turning to the right. So I want to avoid sticking my buttocks out like this. I'm going to bring them in and think of drawing this left hip back. Now you've got the choice, moving into Trikonasana, hand on the support or on the shin, but we're going to draw up this left leg as we keep this body turned to the right. Breathe up the right arm. And now we're in triangle. Can we breathe? Keep these legs working nice and strong. So pressing down through that back right heel, reach through the right arm, breath in, all the way up. If you want, you can shake it out, little jiggle if you need a rest. But we're going to go back into it. Inhale, exhale, gliding over. I'm going to let my hips move into that. Place the hand back to the shin or on your support. Back to Trikonasana. And then that top arm will slide down. I'm going to bend my left knee and then pivot, right foot, heel back up. Either big step back to our downward dog, or put your knees down first, step back, and you can have a little rest. Or you can stay in downward dog if you want to work a little stronger. All right, from here, if you've got the knees on the floor or you've had a rest, coming to our cat. If you're in downward dog, you can stay in that. And we're going to step our right foot up towards our hands from either position. And then for those who still have their knee on the floor, let's now take that knee off the ground. So, brick. Hopefully you can still reach your brick. And we're now going to position it. So this is in front of my right foot. I'm actually going to put it a little bit behind, so it's lining up more with my little toe. And it's about a brick in front. Now you can change the height depending on what suits. And we're going to get ready for Ardha Chandrasana, crescent moon pose. So let's pivot the left heel down just like we had for triangle. So I've moved my foot across. And then from here, lifting up, keep the knee bent, turn, rotate. So for those who want to use a wall, feel free now to make your way and lean against a wall for this next pose. Or you can put your hand out on a chair as well. And then fix your gaze. So rather than looking down at the brick, what I want to do is look out to the front. So I'm looking towards the camera. I'm going to step my left foot in a little bit more, reach my right hand down, and I'm feeling where the brick is. I'm not looking at it. And then transfer the weight to the right foot. See if we can straighten it up. And then lift that left leg. Maybe add the top arm up and reaching out through all four limbs. We're now in our crescent moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Quite strong. And if you fall out, that's okay. Perfectly normal. To come back out, we're going to bend the knee. Big step back. We can bring the arm down. Elbow and thigh. And then hands back to the floor. Pivot the back foot. Big step back, downward dog or knees to floor. Have a little rest. Okay. From here, if you've got the knees on the floor, you'll be stepping your left foot up. If you're in downward dog, big step up with the left foot. And then let's bring that brick to the other side, or those using the wall, set yourself up against the wall. All right, from here, right foot comes across. Come up a little bit higher. So now I'm just taking the time to fix my gaze in front. So obviously I'm not going to be looking back at the camera. And I want to avoid looking down at my brick. So I'm going to step the right foot in a little bit more. Check that you haven't moved that left foot so it's gone crooked. Reach out with the left hand. Keep that gaze steady. Transfer weight to left leg. Lift the right leg up. Try and get both legs straight. So if that's tricky, you need the bottom hand higher. When you've got your balance, take the right arm up. Keep breathing. We stretch through all four limbs. If you can smile, smile. Good strength work, this pose. Now to come out, we're going to bend the left knee. Big step back. And then we'll bring the top arm down to the floor. Lift the back heel. Stepping back either to our cat, downward dog. And how about this time we all come down and have a nice little rest on the floor in your favourite child position. All right, coming back up to hands and knees. So working with warrior pose this time. So from our hands and knees, if you want, you can stay here and step the right foot up to the hands, or you could tuck the toes, come back to downward dog, and then step the right foot up. So warrior number 2, we're going to pivot the left heel down just like we've been doing with all our other postures. Keep the front knee bent, don't let it go past the ankle. And then inhale, sweep it up. And we're now in our warrior 2. So I'm trying to get my head, my shoulders balanced over my hips. Arms are over the feet. We just let this settle a little bit. Think of lengthening this inner right thigh. So I'm drawing the outer thigh back a little bit. Now we'll move into reverse warrior. So So that means the left hand will come to the left leg, turn the right palm up, gaze in the right hand as we breathe in and look into the hand towards the ceiling. Making sure that the legs are exactly as they were for Warrior Two. Back should be comfortable, so check you haven't overdone it. Leaning back. All right, let's inhale back to our Warrior Two. And then exhale over into angle pose. So a little bit like our gate that we did earlier. Now you can rest here on the forearm. If there's no problems with your back, you can add a bit more strength work by taking that hand away, but don't lose the position. So it's just, my arm's just hanging here. I'm not reaching for the floor. I'm using my good core strength just to hold the body in this space. Hands back to the ground. Lift the back heel. And then your choice here, downward dog or knee to floor, to cat, have a rest. Either in your downward dog, your cat, or your child. And then your choice of knees stay on the floor, step the left foot up. Or from your downward dog, you can do that big step up. And then we're going to pivot, right heel down. So if you had the back knee on the floor, lift it up. Shift the foot across. Now we're going to keep the knee bent over the ankle. And we're coming to our Warrior Two. So let's inhale up, nice and strong. Try and find this center. So I don't want to be leaning over my left leg. Relax the shoulders down. So I don't want to squeeze my shoulder blades. I want to keep them nice and broad. And I'm thinking of lengthening this inner left thigh. So rather than sticking the buttocks out, I'm pulling my outer left thigh hip back. So let's place right hand to right thigh, turn the left palm up. As we breathe in, we come into our reverse warrior. So I'm looking into my left palm. But again, this should be comfortable. Still trying to keep my left knee over my ankle. Breathe back to our Warrior Two. And then we'll move into our angle pose. So forearm on the thigh, top arm overhead. Remember, you can sweep it round if shoulders prefer that sweep than just this sort of little angle. And then your choice of staying here or taking this bottom hand away and not having it rest on anything. So more strength. Doesn't mean you collapse to the floor. So remember, it's about the strength we're finding here. Keeping that diagonal line. Legs are strong. Both hands to the ground. Big step back or knees to floor first. Nice little stretch out in our downward dog or our cat pose. Knees to floor, release, relax. Again, whatever's your favourite position. So lots of leg workout today. Okay, let's take both arms out in front. Inhale, coming onto all fours. So we'll do a little twist for the body here, and maybe taking it into what we call Drunken Panda. Once you're in this pose, it's actually a little bit hard to turn around and see, so maybe just have a look first. What I'm going to do is take my right arm underneath, head, shoulder to floor. So you could stay here. Then I'm going to take my left leg up and around near my right hand. And I've just planted it down. And then another option is to then take that left arm up. And this is Drunken Panda. So, when you're ready, right arm underneath left arm, head, shoulder to floor. And then we'll bring the left foot up if possible. If it's not comfortable, just stay in first stage. And if it feels okay, maybe take the left arm up. And we breathe. So it's a little rotation. A bit of a stretch if you've got that leg out straight for the inner thigh. But it opens up the back of that right shoulder. So we're going to come back out by taking left hand down, bring the left foot back in, and then pushing up onto hands and knees. So let's go to the left side. I'm going to take the left arm underneath, head, shoulder to floor. You can choose to stay here and not go any further. Or bring your right foot around towards your left hand, and notice I've got the legs straight. And then if that feels all okay, you could take your right shoulder up as well. So we're looking for that opening in the back of the left shoulder. We'll bring that top arm back down. Right leg comes back in. And then pushing back up to hands and knees. Now we're going to lower all the way to the floor. If you have hips that tend to dig into the ground, you might want to put something soft underneath your hips. So if you want to bring shoulders over wrists, you can either be in a half plank position like I am here, or you could do a full plank position. And we're going to see if we can slowly lower ourselves to the floor. So if you're in full plank, we'll try Chaturanga, elbows tucked in, chest down, and release into the ground. So a little bit of strength in those triceps. Any way you get to the floor is good. Once you're down there, position your feet so that they are hip width apart. You can rest your head on your hands. So this is our rest position, or one of them that you could do. And we keep the neck in a neutral position in this one. Other rest positions you could choose to take is arms beside the body, head turned to one side. But each time when we come to rest, can you make sure that you turn the head in the other direction. Now, feeling your feet on the ground, try to get all 10 toes connecting with the floor if possible. So it might feel like the heels go out a little bit wider. And we're going to work into our back strength now, starting off with upper back strength. So we're going to try and keep the legs pretty neutral and not too much bend here in this lower lumbar region. So let's see if we can bring the arms down beside the body. Start with the forehead on the floor. Keep the feet grounded. And as we breathe in, lift the head, lift the chest. And then see if you can also lift the arms off the floor, stretching fingers towards the toes. Now, you don't have to come up very high. If you're quite strong through your back, it may feel okay to lift up a little bit higher, but check that you're not over using the legs there. So try and relax your legs. And we just find that upper back strength. I'm keeping the back of my neck nice and long, so I'm not trying to lift my head and gaze to the ceiling. A couple more breaths if you can. All right, we're going to release on the exhale. We'll come back down and find your rest position, whether it's head to the side or supported. This is the opportunity to Really find that relaxation in the muscles. All right, head back to center. So we're going to do that again, keeping the legs relaxed on the floor, feet on the floor. Next breath in, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the arms if you can. And we're working that upper back strength. Try and move the shoulders away from the ears. Also think about it, maybe a little lift of your inner thighs to the ceiling. And that's going to help keep those buttocks from over clenching. All right, we're going to release. Come back down, head to floor, nice and soft. Let it go. So that's the upper back muscles. We're going to work a little bit more through the lower back ones. I've got quite a bulky watch, so I'm going to take my watch off. If you've got anything bulky around your wrists, like bangles, etc., you might also want to take those off. Because we're going to be putting the hands and the arms underneath the body, and you don't want to digging in. So bringing the palms up to face the thighs, and I've got my hips sort of more or less over my wrists, but depending on your arm length to torso length, it could be different for you. And then from here, we're going to do a single leg lift. So we're going to lift the right leg up, keeping it straight, keeping the hips to pelvis level. And then we'll bring that right leg back down. On the exhale, let's lift left leg up, hips level. Try not to lift my head too high, but I'm also conscious here of squishing the microphone and everything else. All right, leg back down. So once more, go back to that right side. So we're going to lift the right leg up. Maybe it can come up a little bit higher. And I'm trying to lift my thigh away from my fingertips that stay on the floor. Okay, right leg back down. Relax. Let's take left leg up. So you can see my hand is flat on the ground, thigh lifting away from it. And I'm trying not to push too hard through my right leg to get the lift. So I'm trying to get my back muscles, my glute, buttock muscles to work. All right, release, relax. Take the arms out from underneath. Maybe give it all a little bit of a wiggle. Now, we're going to have a go at doing Locust Pose, which is lifting both legs off the ground. This can get a little intense. If you get any major discomfort in your back, please do not push through this pose. Come down and stick with the single leg strength work. Anytime your back's telling you it's had enough, listen. Give it a break. You don't want to upset your back. Now, I like to have my hands linked underneath. So when I do this posture, we're going to do it with palms facing up. And if I was lying on my body, my hands are going to look pretty much like that underneath my body. So let's bring both arms underneath. I've got one hand stacked on top of the other. I've even sort of interlaced the fingers there, but the fingers are straight. And the upper arms are hugging in nice and tight. So from here, you can either have your chin on the floor or forehead on the floor. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, let's see if we can lift both legs off the ground. Keep breathing. And then release. Come back down. So it should feel like it's hard work. And again, if it didn't feel good for your back, skip it. Have a rest instead, or you can go back to single leg lengths. So we're going to do one more of those, and you may want to try this time interlocking the hands like that. So I've crossed one arm over the other, and then I'm going to be resting on those hands. and see how it feels. Up to you which sort of cross you want to do, whatever feels natural. So let's roll back on, interlock the palms towards each other, see how that feels. Might not feel good, you don't have to do it. Nice deep breath in, and then when you're ready, exhale, lifting up. Now when I do this, I can't talk, so it's going to go silent. And when you're ready, come back down. So release. Those postures are fairly intense, and that's just one of those few postures that really, I can't hold a conversation while I'm doing it. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of strength. Okay, check in. How's the back feel? Find your comfortable position. Maybe give it all a little bit of a rock and a roll, a wiggle, whatever feels good. And we're going to put it all together now into Sarpasana, our snake pose, which means lifting everything off the body, off the floor. Again, you don't have to lift super high to be doing good work. You can stay very low. If your back's already saying, oh, I don't want to do any more, roll over, take your knees into the chest, give it a nice little massage. So arms beside the body, big toes maybe just touching or a little bit wider if you need more space in your lower back. And then we're going to breathe in, lift the head, lift the chest, take the legs up and stretch the fingers back towards the feet. This is our Sapasana, our snake pose. Nice long spine, steady breath, long neck. Really, really good for building that strength all through those back muscles. On the exhale, we're going to come down, maybe turn the head to one side, nice and soft, let it go. We've only got one more to do. So if you feel that you're okay for it, head back to center. Let's come up on the breath in. Hold as we exhale. See if you can keep breathing as we hold our lift. So remember, you can be quite low and keep the spine long, or you could lift up a little higher if the back's okay for it. And when you're ready to come down, nice slow release down, maybe turn the head the other way. Long, slow breath in and out. Head back to center, maybe bring the arms up, support the head on the hands. Take the hips for a wiggle side to side. And then we're going to roll over onto our backs. And bend the knees. So it's always quite nice to do a little bit of twisting after some back bends. And there was some pretty strong back bends in there. So from here, you can either have both knees bent, feet on the floor, arms out shoulder height. Or if you want it a little bit more, you could have the feet off the floor, shins facing the ceiling. So any problems with the back, the abdomen, just have the feet on the ground. Okay, I like to do a little swivel of the hips, so we're going to lift them a little bit up and over to the left, and then rolling both knees over to the right. And we do want to get the feet relaxed to the floor. Both shoulders relaxed to the floor, either head looking to ceiling, or you could lift and turn the head to look down the left. Again, be guided by what feels best. And we just follow the breath for a few moments, in and out. Seeing if we can relax a little more on the exhale. Okay, next breath in, let's come back out. So if you had the feet off the floor, make sure you firm up the abdomen a little bit, hover the feet up. We'll come back to center. And we're going to swivel the hips over to the right. On the next exhale, let's take both knees to the left. And then see if you can relax the feet down to the ground. Your choice of turning the head. And then settling into the pose with the breath, relaxing on the exhale. Okay, when you're ready, coming back to center. Perhaps realign the back so it feels straight, knees into chest, either hands on the shins or behind the knees. Just a little roll around, noticing what needs some attention. And then rolling over. So our last posture is an inversion, and I always like to give choices for inversions. So one of the choices is shoulder stand, which requires a little bit more setup. So if you do have a shoulder stand practice, I really like to have some blankets underneath the shoulders. It's quite nice to use a wall to put the legs up and get into your shoulder stand that way. But if shoulder stand's not your thing, then also using a chair or a wall, you can just swing your legs up the wall. So finding that wall space. The other choice with a chair, and this is really nice on those nice comfy lounge chairs, but what you could do is keep the knees bent and have your legs up on the chair that way. So this is a beautiful option if you've got it. And that's a variation on our Viparati Karani. Or you could have maybe a little towel or a blanket folded in half like that. And you can have that up near a wall. Slide your legs up, so I start on the edge, I roll up, and this is our legs up the wall, beautiful posture. Or you could move into your shoulder stand, but ideally I'd have a few more supports under my shoulders, so I've got a bit more space for my neck. And then if you're using a wall, you could take one leg up, get those hands supporting behind. And if that feels okay, your half shoulder stand is fine. Or you can just hold it here. You can always come down and rest at any time. So finding that comfy position. I love this pose. This has got to be my favourite go-to for an inversion. And the best thing about legs up the wall is you can spend as long as you like here. I've done half an hour to an hour here sometimes when I've been travelling. We let the breath settle. If you're doing your shoulder stand, you want to make sure that there's not a lot of pressure on the back of your head or your neck. And anytime it becomes hard to breathe, you come down. So it is better to do those postures. If you're not familiar with them, do them with an experienced teacher who can check your positioning. Otherwise, this one's very safe to do. Highly recommend it. So if you're really enjoying this, you could spend a little bit more time here and just pause the video. And then restart when you want to move to relaxation and pranayama. To come out of the pose, so if you can shoulder stand, make your way back to the floor. So I just soften the knees, roll over to one side. You might want to rest there for a little bit. And then use your hands to come back up. So just be very slow in your movements, because being upside down for a little while, it does bring a little bit more blood to the head. We're just going to let that settle. So we are now going to do a very quick pranayama practice, and then actually maybe we just go straight to a Yoga Nidra, I think. So put something warm on if you've got it. Set yourself up with some cushions, a bolster if you're lucky enough to have one of those, blanket to keep yourself nice and warm, and lying down in Shavasana, our corpse pose. If you really like the legs up the wall, you could do this practice in that position as well, but again, you want to make sure you're going to be super comfy and resist that urge to move. So Yoga Nidra, we'll be taking the mind through various parts of the body. So as I name each part, repeat it mentally to yourself. Take your awareness to that part and see if you can keep flowing through your body with my voice. Resist the urge to move if you can. And the other thing we do with this practice is we set an intention for ourselves. So think about something that you want to bring about in your life for self-improvement. Maybe you need better health, whether it's mental, emotional, physical health. Or perhaps you know you need to build on a particular quality like patience or loving kindness. So you just choose that resolve and put it in present day terms. So make it as if it's already happening. You would say, I am patient. Not I want to be patient, it's I am patient. So simple affirmation. And if you can't think of anything, just pick one word, and you might want to think of something like love, and just think of embodying love. So we start by checking in. Do we need to make any position adjustments, scratch, whatever, get it out of the system. Find your stillness. And then be aware of all the different sounds. So what sounds do you have in your space, in the building that you're in? And then perhaps you can hear sounds that might be outside of the building. Try and be aware of the most distant sound. And then drawing that awareness of sound back in closer towards your body. Being aware of the sound of your breath. And as you block out all those external sounds, maybe even become aware of the sound of your heartbeat. And letting go of even those internal sounds, and now thinking of your intention for yourself and repeating it 3 times mentally. And now moving your awareness down to your right hand thumb. So feeling the right hand thumb, then your second finger, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, waist, hip, right thigh, knee, calf, ankle, heel, sole, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Feel your left hand thumb, second finger, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, waist, hip, left thigh, knee, calf, ankle, heel, sole, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Feel both feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, buttocks, lower back, middle back, upper back, the whole spine. Both shoulder blades, shoulders, back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, right eyelid, left eyelid, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, nose, tip of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, chin, jaw, throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, right chest, left chest, middle of the chest, navel, abdomen, groin, the whole right leg, the whole left leg, both legs together, the whole right arm, whole left arm, both arms together, whole of the back, whole of the front, whole of the head, the whole body together, legs, arms, back, front, chest, head, the whole body together. Be aware of your whole body. Be aware of the body, relaxed, calm, and still. Whole body relaxed. And with the body relaxed, be conscious of the relaxed breath, feeling that flow of air gently through the nostrils, and starting to count each breath backwards from 21 down to 1. Each breath in and out counts as one breath. If at any time you lose the count, or you get down to 1, start the count again at 21, counting backwards. And then leaving the counting of the breaths, being aware of the weight of the body on the floor, feeling the heaviness of the body. And as you feel the body sinking into the ground, the contact points between yourself and the floor are expanding. The whole body is heavy. And then feeling the lightness of the body. So think of the body becoming lighter and lighter. The contact points between yourself and the ground become smaller and shrink. And the whole body feels light. And then opening up awareness of the whole body, feeling the surface of the skin, feeling the clothing against the body, the different fabrics, being aware of that subtle touch of air on the face and the exposed skin. And expanding that awareness now to the sounds that you may hear around you. Internal sounds, external sounds. And picturing the room that you're lying in, the floors, the ceiling, the walls. Perhaps inviting a deeper breath in through the nostrils into the lungs. Feeling that cool air as it moves in, waking the brain up. And as you breathe deeper, now add a little movement into the hands and into the feet. Begin to extend and stretch into the arms and the legs. And moving the body in any way that it feels good to do so, bringing it back out. And with that awareness, thinking of your resolve, that intention that you made, and repeating it 3 times to yourself. And if you haven't done so already, blinking the eyes, letting in the light, and then rolling over and coming up to sit in a comfortable position. Finding a nice tall spine. And this week I haven't got a quote. Definitely 2020 is a very interesting year. And hopefully soon we'll have our studios open, or my studio open. And I'd just like to do 3 Oms today. First Om will be for ourselves. Second Om is going to be for our country, recognizing the country that we're living in. And then that third Om, universal Om, sending that out to the whole world, looking for peace and harmony. So you may want to start by fingertips to the floor. And as we take a deep breath in, let's bring the arms up overhead. As we connect the fingertips, we'll begin to exhale to the sound of Om. Taking a breath in for our country. Breathing in, sending loving kindness out to the whole world. Closing the eyes, placing the thumb on the sternum and just gently bowing the head forwards, connecting the fingertips to the forehead. Namaste. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much for joining me in this practice. I hope you enjoyed it and have an excellent week. Bye.